Okay julle, vandag doen ons die gedig Pryslied. Dis 'n bietjie 'n langer gedig as van die ander wat ons gedoen het, maar eintlik is dit baie eenvoudige gedig. Ek gaan die gedig weer vir julle voorlees, soos al die ander gedigte. As ek die woorde verkeerd uitspreek, vergewe my, want hier is 'n paar baie moeilike woorde in. Maar ja, hier gaan ons. Pryslied deur Auntie Krog. In die sandklip hard vandag staan hy kop en skraal skouers, staan hy bo almal uit. Houtskool en as is sy hare, hy die sandkleurige seun van Unosekeni, die ma van Mandela. Hy, die man met die vleesige palmkussings, hier staan hy uit die gevestigde familie van Ngubenku, die seun van Dalindyebo, die seun van Mandela, by die rivieroewers van Ngugu. Heelmaker uit die Tembo-stam, 'n klein swart ster priem sy bo-lip. Ons prys hom, hy wat nie lag nie en nie huil nie. Eerste ratelaar van Umkhonto we Sizwe, die swart pimpernel. Hy wat nie lag nie en ook nie huil nie. Hier staan hy dan nou voor ons, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, getrokke trak van lank gelede. Die sleepsel van sy blare lê wyd. Legendaries is hy, opspoorder van harte. Hy maak die pante by mekaar van 'n verskeurde land. Hy draai ons na mekaar toe, vir mekaar. Hy, heelmaker van mense. Hy stig vrede, vrede wat die ma is van groot nasies. Goed, soos julle seker nou afgelei het, is die gedig oor ons oud-president Nelson Mandela. En Pryslied sê waaroor die gedig gaan. It is a praise song, dis 'n lied van prys. So, wat is 'n pryslied? So, what is a praise song then? Leiers uit Afrika kulture word gewoonlik met prysliedere geprys. So, leaders of African cultures, chiefs and so on, are usually praised using a praise song. In die verlede is die Imbongi gewoonlik die persoon gewees wat die pryslied sing. So the Imbongi is usually the person who sings this praise song, en hy is gewoonlik iemand wat naby aan die koning of die leier se plek gewoon het. So usually someone who lived close to the king or the chief's hut or wherever they might have been. En hy het heel moontlik saam met die leier bekende of belangrike geleenthede bygewoon. Sy uitvoerings was tot die leier gerig. So his performance was aimed at the leader or the chief, not necessarily at the people. En hy vertel van dit wat die leier gedoen het, wat goed was, wat sleg was, en wat in partykeer ook voorspel hy wat gaan gebeur. So, he told the people, or he told what the leader did that was good, that was bad, and sometimes he predicted as well something that would come from what this person did. Sy woorde is amper soos 'n advertensie vir die leier gewees. So it's almost like an advertisement for this leader. Die Imbongi was ook die enigste persoon wat die leier of van die stam kon kritiseer sonder om vervolg te word. So he is the only person as well who could criticize the leader without fear of prosecution. Vervolg means prosecution. Die pryslied bevat ook die belangrikste eienskappe en besonderhede van die persoon wat geprys word. So the most important aspects and characteristics of the person that is being praised is in here. Usually, gewoonlik bevat dit biografiese besonderhede, biographical information, in ander woorde name van die persone, plekke waar hy gebly het, ensovoorts. Okay. Die titel en aspekte van die gedig, so die iemand of 'n saak word geprys of vereer. In die geval is dit dan nou Nelson Mandela. So we know from the title, it's a praise song. Someone is going to be praised or honored, and in this case it is Nelson Mandela. Die naam kom van die Afrika kultuur waar mondeling eer gebring word. So the name comes from the African culture where through digkuns, poetry or song, honor is being brought. We spoke about that already, and we spoke about what a pryslied is as well. Die gedig in die geval is 'n lied. It's actually a song. I don't know if there's anyone who has set this to music yet. I'll have a look, and if I can find something, I'll give it to you, but at this point I don't know of anyone who did, but if I can find it, I'll put it up for you. Die gedig is klankryk en lyrisch, so it's rich in sound and lyrical. Remember lyrical, we spoke about that when we did Rondom my. Lyrische gedigte usually have a lot of rhyme and repetition in the form of a refrain. Here we don't have a refrain, but we do have quite a lot of repetition as well. Die gedig bevat baie ritmiese aspekte, musikale effekte, alliterasie, assonansie en herhaling. So the poem has a lot of rhythmical aspects, musical effects, alliteration, assonance, the colors indicate where they will be, and then herhaling ook, repetition. Daar is wel geen rym in die gedig nie, en die gedig is in vrye vers geskryf. So there's no rhyme in the poem, and the poem is written in free verse. Now, if you look at the example, or the poem that I gave you to put in your books, you'll see that there is definite stanza lengths and things like that. But if you look at the one that I have on your additional notes, you'll see that there aren't any stanzas in that poem. So it has happened in the past, and I know in last year's trial examination as well, the poem that was in there had completely different stanza structures to the ones that you guys have in your books. But the ones that you have in your book is correct. I actually found the original published poem and I checked it, and I'm sure it is correct. It is even mixed up in the textbook. So just bear with that. Study the format that is in your books, and make sure that you know that in case it gets into an exam and it is not correct in there. Goed, nou die beskrywing. So verskeie aspekte van Nelson Mandela se lewe word bespreek. So a lot of different aspects of his life is being explained here. Die uiterlike voorkoms, for example, in reëls 1, 4, 6 en 8, of 4 tot 6 eerder, en 8 beskryf sy uiterlike voorkoms. Hy is lig van kleur, so he's lighter in color, like sandklip. Sandklip is sandstone. It is a reddish brown stone. Hy was lank, he was tall. Sy swart hare het grys vlekke ingehaat, so his black hair had grey flecks in. Remember, we're talking here about the day where he was inaugurated as President of South Africa, not later on in his life, so he was starting to get old at that stage already. Hy het groot, maar sagte hande gehad, waarmee hy mense aangeraak het. So he had big, soft hands with which he touched people's lives. Dan innerlik, reël 17, hy was besadig, gematig en waardig. That basically just means that he was someone who kept cool in tough situations. He never showed his emotions when making decisions, and he tried to be better than he was in the past. Hy was iemand wat diep positiewe spore op mense se lewens gelaat het. So he was someone who had deep positive impact on people's lives, line 23 to 24. En hy was 'n heelmaker, iemand wat gebroke mense en situasies probeer beredder. So he was a healer, someone who tried to fix the broken people and situations of this country. Goed, tema, enjambement en ander. So die tema, Mandela se lewe, oorsprong, karakter en invloed deur sy lewe word bespreek. So the theme is about Mandela's life, where he came from, his origin, his character, and his influence throughout his life. Enjambement, there's a lot of enjambment in the poem, verbind die gedig tot 'n eenheid en help met die vloei van die gedig. So the enjambment binds the poem to a unit and helps with the flow of the poem. Die inkeping of typografiese wit, we spoke about that when we did boodskapper, it's those open spaces. So die inkeping op verskeie plekke in die gedig beklemtoon die belangrikheid van sekere aspekte. So the indentations made there in certain places in the poem emphasizes important aspects of the poem. Herhaling, die herhaling van die gedig skep eenheid in die afwesigheid van rym. Dit versterk die ritmiese musikale aspekte van die gedig en die herhaling het ook belangrike idees of aspekte uit. So, the repetition in the poem creates a unity in the absence of end rhyme or rhyme in general. It strengthens the rhythmical and musical aspects of the poem, and the repetition also emphasizes that hef belangrike aspekte uit. It emphasizes important aspects. Alleenplasing. Alleenplasing is usually when we have either a word or 2 or 3 words placed alone in its own line in a poem, and the main reason for that is again emphasis. So daar's verskeie dele van die gedig wat as alleenplasing gesien kan word. Dit is gedoen om dele uit te hef. Die alleenplasing is gewoonlik versies van 3 of minder woorde. Kyk na reëls 2, 3, 9, 16, 19 en 30. So there are many parts of the poem that can be seen as this alleenplasing, and it is done to emphasize these parts. Those parts are usually lines that contain 3 or less words, especially if we look at lines 2, 3, 9, 16, 19, and 30.